Welcome back. You're still watching Your Story on SA Today. As you heard at the top of the hour, the National Energy Regulator of South Africa, Nersa, has approved electricity hikes of 9.41%, 8.1% and 5.2% for the next 3 financial years, far below Eskom's application for double-digit tariff increase of around 15%. Now, this may come as some relief for consumers, but what does this mean for the beleaguered power utility and for the economy in general? Well, to give us some insight, I'm now joined via Skype by Nedbank's Chief Economist, Dykes. Dennis, thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, so I'm going to start with, it looks as if these increases, the Eskom didn't get what they wanted, but 9%, 8%, that's above inflation. Is that not a great thing?
It's going to be very tough for businesses and consumers. Bear in mind that the 9% that is being spoken about is only one element of the tariff increase, because we've also got the so-called clawback that will be coming through, which adds another 4%. So we're already talking about a 13.82% increase for next year.
All right, so what does it, you've mentioned business, but as consumers as well, we're going to really feel it.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's quite a large element of people's budgets. It forms about 3.5% of the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. And obviously, it affects all aspects of cost of living increases. So, certainly the message from business to the regulator was that anything over inflation was going to hurt job prospects, it was going to hurt investment prospects. But I guess under the circumstances, this is kind of like the best that one could have anticipated, and it's indeed pretty much in line with what we were forecasting.
There was some in the mining sector who were saying that a number of mines could actually be shut down if we see these kinds of increases. Is that a very real danger?
Look, a lot depends on other factors. So, for example, wages and then the actual price of commodities themselves and what happens to the rand. But I think, yes, it's a real danger, because bear in mind that since 2007, we've had like a 170% increase in real terms over and above inflation on the price of electricity. So this would add, it would add another considerable amount over the next 3 years. And we've still got other applications for these so-called clawbacks from previous financial years, which could add to increases in 2021 and 2022.
What does it mean for Eskom itself? I mean, they didn't get as much as they wanted. They're in dire financial straits at the moment. Is this, I suppose it's some help, but certainly not enough for them in their view?
Yeah, look, the big problem with Eskom is that they've taken 300 billion rand and basically wasted that money. So their argument is they have to try to recoup that through tariff increases for the consumer, but that's really not an economically sustainable model, because electricity demand will fall significantly if we saw the increases that they actually applied for, the 15% per annum. So that was never really a prospect, and I think it's probably a reasonable compromise which will help satisfy some of the demands of investors in Eskom through the bonds and also the rating agencies.
All right. Given the sizable component energy plays in our economy, what's your take then going forward? We're already not optimistic about growth and things like that. What will this mean for the economy, do you think?
Yeah, as I said, it's pretty much in line with what we thought Nersa would come up with, taking all the factors into account. And we've been predicting about 1.5%, 1.3% this year, with a steady progression up towards 2%, but not really getting there. So we think it will hurt, but that we'll see moderate growth over the next couple of years, but not sufficient to absorb the number of people coming into the labour market, obviously, which is the big concern.
All right. So, Dennis, we're going to have to leave it there. But thanks very much indeed for your insights on this Nersa increases for Eskom. Thanks so much for your time.
Pleasure.
All right, so that was Dykes, who's the chief economist at Nedbank, saying that this is going to be quite a thing, particularly for businesses. It's quite a hike. Whilst the 9% is what's been put on the table, it could be as high as 13% with the clawbacks that he was talking about. So as consumers, I'm afraid we're going to have to dig deep in the coming months once these increases take effect. We're going to take